There are over 20 characters who have only appeared once in the Boondocks. And today, we're going to go over what happened to every single one of them. Starting with Cristal.
It's edible.
Who made her one and only appearance in the Season 1 episode Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Voiced by Tiffany Thomas, Cristal was a young 20-year-old woman Granddad met at a grocery store after he loaned his belt to a mother trying to whip her unruly kid. He was instantly smitten. Huey and Riley clocked her as a prostitute within 5 minutes, but Granddad refused to believe it, even as she racked up his credit cards. The truth only comes out when a pimp named Slickback shows up at the house to collect her.
My name is a pimp named Slickback, and I believe I may have misplaced some merchandise at this residence.
And here's the kicker. Cristal doesn't get dragged away against her will. She runs after Slickback's car in high heels. She wanted to stay a hoe. Granddad stayed up all night waiting for her to come back. She never did. Cristal was never seen again. But what happened to Lincoln, who made his one and only appearance in the Season 1 episode The Story of Gangstalicious? Voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, Lincoln was the leader of a 3-man hit squad chasing Gangstalicious through the hospital, through the city, and into the woods outside Woodcrest. Everyone thought he was a rival gangbanger. Then he kissed Gangstalicious on the mouth in the woods before the execution. Riley's entire worldview shattered in real time. Then Lincoln and his crew opened fire on a naked, blindfolded Gangstalicious from 10 feet away and missed every single shot, in a direct reference to that Pulp Fiction speech about the miracle. Lincoln walked off. No arrests, no consequences, just gone. Next we have Cairo, who made his only appearance in the Season 1 episode Wingmen. Cairo was Huey's oldest friend from Chicago. When Granddad went back to Chicago for the funeral of his own friend Mo, Huey used the trip to reconnect with Cairo. It didn't go well. Cairo spent the whole episode accusing Huey of abandoning him, gloating that he'd already replaced Huey with a new best friend, and refusing to actually reconcile. Huey tried anyway. Cairo ended the friendship with a headbutt to Huey's face. Huey walked back to Woodcrest and cut Cairo out of his life for good. But what happened to Luna, who made her one and only appearance in the Season 2 episode Attack of the Killer Kung Fu Wolf Bitch?
I was falling in love with you, Robert. You're just like all the others.
What others? Who are these others?
Voiced by Aisha Tyler, in what was actually her first credited voice acting role, Luna was a Kumite champion, White Lotus, Kung Fu master Granddad, picked up through online dating. Beautiful. Deadly. And, as it turns out, absolutely psychotic. She'd been raised in an abusive household, gone through a string of abusive relationships, and had killed the Shaolin monk who taught her Kung Fu. Her best friend Nicole, who only ever appears as a voice on the phone, kept feeding her the worst possible advice. When Luna finally broke down, she trapped Granddad and Tom in her car with a live grenade. They talked her into letting them go. Then Nicole gave her one last piece of bad advice, and Luna detonated the grenade with herself still inside. She's one of the darkest one-time endings the show ever put to air. The next one-time character is Catcher Freeman, or, as he's actually named, Tobias Lynchwater. He made his only appearance in the Season 2 episode The Story of Catcher Freeman. Voiced by Chris Jai Alex, Catcher Freeman was framed by Granddad as a legendary slave revolt hero and ancestor of the Freeman family. Uncle Ruckus tells a competing version where he's an ape-like villain. Then Huey pulls up the actual history on the internet. Turns out, Tobias Lynchwater was Massa Colonel's illegitimate mulatto son, a cowardly house slave who accidentally shot the colonel while trying to shoot Thelma, the real leader of the slave revolt. Tobias took the credit anyway. The whole Freeman family legacy is built on a fraud. The show never brought him back, and probably for good reason. But what happened to Jessica Ethelberg, who made her one and only appearance in the Season 2 episode The Story of Gangstalicious Part 2? Jessica, nicknamed Wonder Cheeks, was Gangstalicious's public girlfriend and video vixen. Based directly on Corrine Steffens, better known as Superhead, who wrote that infamous tell-all book about the rappers she slept with. Jessica figured out Gangstalicious was gay, got dumped, and wrote her own book called The Private Lives of Rappers, which outed him publicly. His career didn't survive it. Neither did she, from the show's perspective. Jessica cashed her check and disappeared. But what happened to Jimmy Rebel, who made his only appearance in the Season 3 episode The Story of Jimmy Rebel? Voiced by Greg Travis, Jimmy Rebel was Uncle Ruckus's favorite country singer, based directly on the real racist country artist Johnny Rebel, with a character design borrowed from Jerry Reed. Ruckus mailed him his own racist demos, and to his shock, Jimmy Rebel showed up in Woodcrest to collaborate. The two of them recorded together in perfect harmony, right up until Jimmy Rebel remembered Ruckus was black. The episode ends without a real punishment for either of them. Jimmy Rebel disappeared back into whatever underground white supremacist country scene the show pulled him from. Moving on to Lamilton Tayshawn.
Everybody says I'm crazy, but I don't care. I don't care about my grandmother. I don't care about that dog. And I don't even care about myself.
Who made his one and only appearance in the Season 3 episode Smokin' with Cigarettes, voiced by Bobby J. Thompson Lamilton was an 8-year-old juvenile felon based directly on the real 7-year-old Latarian Milton, whose bizarre local news interviews had gone viral online in the late 2000s. Lamilton stole his grandmother's car. He beat her for not making him fried chicken. He tried to kill Riley on a rooftop. He was ultimately tased by police and hauled off in handcuffs. The show never checked back in. Presumably, he grew up in the system. But what happened to Dr. Dumas, who made his only appearance in Smokin' with Cigarettes? Voiced by Tom Kane, Dumas was a state-appointed child psychiatrist brought in to evaluate Lamilton.
You asking for money?
No, I'm...
Jehovah Witness?
No.
Police?
No, sir. But there is an urgent matter I need to speak with you about. It's about your grandson.
Unlike every other adult in the episode, Dumas instantly recognized Lamilton as a genuine sociopath and voted to have him permanently locked up. He was overruled. He walked off screen and the show never remembered him. But what happened to Winston Jerome, who made his only appearance in the Season 3 episode Pause? Voiced by Affion Crockett, Winston Jerome was the show's Tyler Perry parody. A cross-dressing megachurch-adjacent film mogul running a cult-like compound where he groomed straight actors into what the episode strongly implied was a coercive religious sex operation. The character was so close to the actual Tyler Perry that Perry reportedly contacted Turner Broadcasting and threatened to leave TBS. He never sued. Winston Jerome appeared once, and the show never touched him again. Moving on to Alistair Ripley, who made his only appearance in the Season 3 episode The Fundraiser. Voiced by Greg Ellis, Alistair Ripley was a British mob boss who ran World's Ultimate Chocolate, the company that supplied candy bars for school fundraisers. Riley figured out he could make more money selling those chocolate bars than any other hustle he'd ever run, and quickly ran his entire block. Ripley sent his goons to shut him down. Then, in the middle of a hotel confrontation, Italian-American mafiosi crashed into the room and shot Alistair Ripley to death. His entire arc was one episode long, and it ended with him bleeding out in a chair. Next we have the Booty Warrior, who made his one and only appearance in the Season 3 episode, A Date with the Booty Warrior. Voiced by Carl Jones, who also voiced Thugnificent and produced most of the show, the Booty Warrior was based directly on Fleece Johnson, the real prison inmate whose MSNBC lockup interviews had become internet famous. His entire plot was chasing Tom Dubois around a maximum security prison during a riot after a scared straight field trip went sideways. Tom's lifelong prison rape anxiety was the punchline. The Booty Warrior never caught him, and the show correctly understood that bringing this character back would have ruined the joke. The next one-time character is Lando Freeman, who made his only appearance in the Season 3 episode The Story of Lando Freeman. Voiced by Gerald Slink Johnson, Lando was a handyman who arrived in Woodcrest and claimed to be Granddad's long-lost son from a 1980s fling. Granddad had gone by the nickname Lando back in the day, after Lando Calrissian from Empire Strikes Back. Samuel L. Jackson also appears in this episode voicing the recurring Gin Rummy, so Granddad even asks him whether he should just kill the kid.
Well, you realize that if you don't kill him, there's nothing preventing him from coming back to town.
Well, if you took him really far away, maybe he won't have enough money to come back.
Then, right at the end, a limousine pulls up. Billy D. Williams steps out, voicing himself, and reveals that he is Lando's actual father. Lando left with Billy D., never seen again. But what happened to Ebony Brown, who made her one and only appearance in the Season 3 episode, The Lovely Ebony Brown? Voiced by Gina Torres, Ebony was arguably the most well-adjusted woman Granddad ever dated. Successful, age-appropriate, sincere, and completely into him. Even Uncle Ruckus liked her, which had never happened before, and Granddad drove her away by being himself. He rushed the relationship, he lied about his past, he proposed in Malaysia after knowing her a few hours. She walked away, quietly and without drama. The show never invited her back. Moving on to Jack Flowers, who made his only appearance in the Season 3 finale, It's Goin' Down. Voiced by Art Butler, Jack Flowers was a Central Terrorist Agency agent, a direct parody of Jack Bauer from 24. His signature interrogation move was kicking terrorists in the nuts with a steel-toed boot he kept in a briefcase. He'd also had 3 girlfriends killed on missions in increasingly ridiculous ways. One was decapitated with a sword, one was pushed off a roof and blown up with explosives, one was tied to a missile. Uncle Ruckus called him the greatest white man since G.I. Joe. He teamed up with Huey to stop Ed Wunkler, the third in Gin Rummy's terrorist attack on Woodcrest, then walked off into the sunset when Season 3 ended. But what happened? Pretty Boy Flizzy, who made his one and only appearance in the Season 4 premiere, Pretty Boy Flizzy. Voiced by Michael B. Jordan, credited under his real name years before Creed made him a movie star, Flizzy was an R&B bad boy based directly on Chris Brown, with his abused ex-girlfriend Christiana standing in for Rihanna. He was arrested for armed robbery and roped Tom Dubois into being his lawyer in exchange for relationship advice.